you fought for your rights to write and produce your own music.
Yeah.
And you made a success of that in itself.
Yeah, that's an interesting story, that whole story.
Yeah, we love
You know,
that
like
story.
Ron Howard does, movies now. He learnt that the same way as Micky learnt it when he was doing Circus Boy. So consequently, later on, he directed and wrote stuff. Peter directed a show. I mean, I was never really interested in doing that. I'm interested in it now. I'm interested in writing. I write songs, and I co-written a musical that hopefully will be in the West End one day. So, that changed. I was just focusing on one thing. Having done all the years in television that Micky had done, he was able to do that. He was equipped to do it, and he was, he was aware of what was necessary to do that.
Would you say that, in a way, you were unique in as much as you were the first guys to actually have to have that commercial realization of where you were headed?
Well, again, it wasn't a band. It was this television show.
Well, even take it as a troupe.
About a band. And so, from my point of view, it was my second series that I'd done. And my first series, I played a kid in a circus riding an elephant. In this series, I was playing a wacky drummer in this rock and roll band. That's how I approached it originally. Clearly, it became something else. It became huge. We went on the road. We played and all that. But for me, this was my second series, and I was quite used to the format. The same cameraman on the Monkees was the cameraman that I'd had on Circus Boy.
Irving Lippman.
Yeah,
Irving Lippman,
Libby
just,
was,
only 9 years earlier, when I was doing Circus Boy. It was the same studio and the same sound stage. So it was like I was just going back to do this second series. And
how did they get an elephant on that little stage? I think.
I have no... you never know.
And
how
stay
successful,
out.
You never know how successful something is going to be until it happens. And it wasn't until years later I realized how successful the Monkees had been.
It occurs to me, just as we're talking here, that the word for us was never... we did play as a band, but what we've been from that minute to this is a troupe.
Yeah, it's more of a troupe. That's a good way to put it. It's like a comedy, entertaining troupe, or I think of it as a show that we do. Not a theatrical. Not
Even
like
the Beatles became a troupe as much as they were ever as much as the word band ever applied to them. They were also a troupe, and they never said of themselves.
That term boy band didn't even exist.
Did they all go to
Wasn't
India to the
until,
Maharishi?
Yep, they all did.
All four of them.
Yep, all four.
But that term boy band didn't even exist.
No, until the Backstreet Boys type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was much later.
Boy band?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Assembled and promoted and
and only
auditioned.
sang.
And only mostly.
What about the Spice
vocal
Girls?
groups.
What about the Spice Girls?
Yeah,
Do you like them?
a girl band.
I like them.
Yeah. How about Dixie Chicks? They had two ladies who knew what they wanted, and they auditioned to many women till they found the third one that
I guess
worked for them.
Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons was a boy band.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That's right. Dion and the Belmonts. They loved Dion, and they put these guys behind him. He said, "No, I got the guys back at home. The guys I've been singing with on the street corners sing better than this. Joe, Charlie, Lefty, come with me." And the Belmonts were, so was that a boy band?
Yeah. Well, it would be described as that now.
If they had done that,
wasn't
yeah.
at the time.
I think we're going too far with this, actually. I think you guys
I've come
way
13.
way too far.
I've come 5,000 miles too far to do this.
I only know that I made a mistake when I opened that tall man's shop in Tokyo. That was a bad move. I should never have done that. I was over there recently.
I hear you were very big in Japan.
Yes, I was. I was buff. In fact, I got a standing ovation. I didn't even know it. It's unbelievable.
I've had the tap. How did you cope with that, with dealing with that period of excess, and how?
Oh, I went for it big time. Straight into it. Dove in head first.
You've just got to everything in moderation, no matter what it is you're involved in.
Except, of course, moderation.
You've got to understand what you're doing. And I always come up with the same line and say, to me, it was no different than the school play. Because I don't think down the road. I think now. I'm thinking how much fun it is when we stand on the side of the stage and we're just about to go out and we all look at each other and we start smiling and laughing. That's not anything that you can buy, you can learn.
And, we have a group hug that we've done every single show we've ever done.
I think in answer to your question,
Did he ask
for
a
me was that I don't remember having the time to get too excessive about anything. The television show, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, we had to be there in makeup to filming for 12 hours, 7 o'clock at night, and then we'd go to the studio and record the songs, and sometimes 3-4 lead vocals a night because they needed so much material. Weekends we started rehearsing and playing. I don't remember having much time. It wasn't until, actually years after the show went off the air that I even had a chance to do my laundry.
We used to hang out, say on a Sunday.
What was that?
We get on a Sunday, right? We'd all be talking to each other on Saturday night, and we'd all show up at the park, and we'd play baseball. First base, second base, third base. Okay, and we played like with the Alice Cooper All-Stars, and we played this and we played that. Same thing when I was on Broadway. We had the Broadway Show League, so all the shows would play against each other. But there were family times. My kids grew up with Micky's kids, the first set of kids anyway. Yeah. And then when we were on tour in '86, my kids and his kids were on tour, and so was Peter's, and we all, It's a family that we have.
That excess thing, I have to say, I did actually go in. I was joking kind of, but I actually did. But not because it was a period of excess, but because as it happens, I have an addictive personality, something that's taken me a long time to come to grips with and learn to deal with. And since I have, mercifully, I haven't had to, basically the only thing I do to excess is sobriety. But it wasn't because of the era of excess. It was because I'm a person of excess. And I went for it big time. And thank God I don't have to do that anymore. But not because it was the era, I don't think.
And Micky, going back to what was the peak of your time as the monkey?
Who?
For all three of you.
I'm sorry, who's... Oh.
All three of you, I think. So
right now.
As a group.
Right now.
As a group.
Right now.
I think we have more fun right now. I think that every time we get together, we renew the friendship, and we go forward as a team and not as a solo as we do our own careers. Micky's in Hairspray right now, which is touring Great Britain. And, we all do. Peter has Shoe Suede Blues. I have my shows. The day before, 2 days before we come here to start at Liverpool on the 12th of May, I'll be at Disney World, Epcot Center, for 3 days, 3 shows a day, But that's what
I'll probably join him just to mess him up.
Yeah. Well, Micky too.
John Lennon, I think it was, referred to you as the Marx Brothers of rock.
It's quite true, as we were.
I think that was very accurate, yeah. I mean, they got it. They got the, and the show was cast and produced with that in mind. I mean, I remember the producers screening Marx Brothers movies, all of which I'd already seen, over the years. But screening those kinds of films because that was what they had in mind.
Dead End Kids, the Bowery
Boys. Much
Boys.
more like the Marx Brothers than the Beatles.
We never pretended to be.
We had the improv lessons too. We actually had a very good man named James Frawley, who later directed a lot of our episodes, who had worked with the Second City Improv Troupe. And there are very strong and definite rules to improv. We learned those, and then within the context of those, we began to explore what we thought was funny and carry on. And that was for months before the show was ever begun taping.
I think a lot of the criticism was hurtful. It was not necessary, because the fans loved it. I mean, even when we've been to England before, sort of like newspapers say this or say that or make, comments. They're not necessary. If they said it to my face, I'd knock them out, because I'm a 65-year-old man with grandchildren and daughters. So you put me down, you put my mother down.
And it's so silly too and useless. And the people who the writers in British newspapers who savage various entertainers, for instance, they when we were here in '97, we were playing to 5,000 screaming, fabulously enthusiastic fans per show, every show, and the gist of every single review was 5,000 people are absolutely stupid. Well, basically, but two things. One is, how can 5,000 people be stupid enjoying what they enjoy? But secondarily, they savage us and they have no effect. Why would you keep on doing something that has no effect? Well, maybe it has an effect back at the shop. Oh, you really savaged those guys. Yeah, I really got them, didn't I? Meanwhile, 5,000 kids and adults, grandchildren, enjoying the living daylights out of what we're doing. We jump out of a huge pyrotechnic explosion. We come bursting out as though out of nowhere. They scream, oh, what a great effect. 55,000 kids really were very stupid last night.
I mean, I don't think Micky goes on the stage every night in Hairspray and thinks monkeys. He's playing a different part. You know, we've played different parts. We've both been on the Broadway stage, the West End stage. We've all, played with some of the great artists of our time. You know, and they've been part of
I'm playing with these
our
two.
productions that we've done.
And I think of playing in the Monkeys as a part. I mean, I'm recreating sort of a role.
Are you playing Micky? You playing Micky Dolenz again?
Yeah.
You know, I do the best Davy Jones you've ever seen.
I thought I would try to George Harrison this time. This is George here doing like Ringo with all the Fab Gear Ringo George thing.
And he comes from Birmingham this time.
Is that what I'm doing?
No, I don't.
What do I
I'm just
know?
making it up.
I'm an American. I can't tell British accents apart.
In what would be some of the most instantly identifiable opening bars of tunes?
Brum.
Being created. You, in your day as a Monkeys, when it was a TV show, you really captured the zeitgeist, didn't you?
That's not a question, is it?
Very good point. Yes, I think that. Well, it wasn't just us. Of course, it was the producers and the writers and the writers of the TV show and the writers of the songs and the whole. It was a huge project. I mean, there was many people involved and very talented people and some of the best script writers of television at the time, directors, songwriters. And I think that's true. I think that everybody combined did capture that zeitgeist very well.
You know, every artist has a team. No matter how independent they may look, nobody makes it and stays in the public eye without a tremendously strong, large team of, just all kinds of advisors and help producers and agents and management and all of that kind of thing, and assistants of one sort and another. And we were maybe more so than most, but it's always true. So, the Beatles, by the time the Beatles made it, they had a team, a huge team.
We never did like tabloid newspapers or anything. Well, I don't ever remember doing any interviews for the Monkeys once the show was on. We only started all that when we started to tour, and a radio station would want to talk to us. We never sort of were in what people do, like the People magazines and all those things. We were in Tiger Beat and 16 and
we were in Look magazine too once.
Really?
Yeah, like a sort of a lifestyle magazine. Don't you remember that the Monkey Yawns? They had 4 of us.
I don't know, but we the press, we were basically asked if we would not talk about sort of, drugs or,
Vietnam.
Endorsements, Vietnam, anything that was political or controversial, so, and we agreed to that, because, we were hired as actors to play a part in a show.
In my case, it was because I was a wimp.
And then Micky puts it the best that, it was a TV show about a band. And that's our comeback to all that, criticism of they don't do this, they can't do that, they didn't do this.
Yeah, forget
we
that.
did it all. But you never actually done it all. We did all the things that they said we didn't do. We did over 200 concerts together. We toured the world. The show went to 36 countries. We made 56 episodes in 2 years. We made a couple of specials and a movie. And it was intense.
How many shows you suppose we did where we had no other musicians on the stage except for the 4 of us? Must have been,
Dolenz,
scores.
Hundreds.
Scores and scores. Hundreds? Could be?
Oh, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was